Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. I'm Rick Ripma, your hardworking mortgage guy, and I've been in real estate and mortgages for over 34 years. I've helped over 5,200 folks finance their homes. My team and I believe in custom tailored loans, not the one-size-fits-all approach. We believe there is a right mortgage for you, and we believe we are the team to deliver it. And before we get started, just if you have any questions on Indy's real estate market or mortgages, please go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And today we got a phenomenal show. We have two awesome real estate agents, a team, a married couple. You may be the first married couple we've had.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Welcome. We really do appreciate you coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. And it's Steve and Jada Green.
Jada Green.
Mhm.
And you're with Carpenter Real Estate, right?
Yes.
Realtors, not real estate, realtors.
Yes.
And Jada, you're the branch manager?
I am. I manage the Geist office of Carpenter Realtors as well.
Okay. Awesome. And the stories are great. I know some of them, you've talked to me about it. And so I'm really excited about it because I think that's what people listen to. They want to hear the stories. So to get started, what was life like before real estate? Where'd you guys grow up? Maybe, I don't know, real estate probably came in before you got married, but tell us that story.
Well, I grew up in Anderson to two real estate parents.
Oh, okay.
I'm a DOB, daughter of broker. So real estate's always been a little bit in my blood, but grew up in Anderson, went to IU, and actually was a high school chemistry teacher before I got into real estate.
Oh, wow.
So had a few years of that. And then pre-real estate feels like it was a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
And you grew up?
Yeah, I grew up in Middletown, which is about 10 minutes from Anderson. It's up northeast on a couple 100-acre farm, and moved down to Indianapolis when I was 19 on the west side. Got a job with Indianapolis Fire Department at 23, and lived on the northeast side of town.
Okay.
At Geist, where we met.
Awesome. And you're still a fireman, but
Still
you're getting ready
am.
to retire. Well, I want to talk more about that, but not right this
Yeah.
second. So, Jada, how did you get into real estate?
Well, as I said, my parents owned a real estate office. And as I was realizing that teaching might not be a long-term career, my dad thought it might be a good idea for me to consider going into real estate. So I did. And that was 23 years ago. And I worked with him in mainly Madison County for most of that time until I met Steve and ended up down here in Indianapolis.
Okay. It's amazing to me how many real estate agents were teachers before they became real estate agents.
A lot.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there's a whole education component to what we do in real estate. I mean, we are educators, just it's a different subject matter and with adults. And I think that that personality type gravitates towards this business as well. Yeah.
And how do you think it benefits your clients?
Well, I think they're scared to death a lot of times when they first, start this process, and to actually teach them what to expect and to educate them about the process. It relieves anxiety, and it allows them to relax and have a successful outcome.
Yeah, there's one other thing I have to ask, because Ian and I have noticed it amongst a lot of real estate agents who grew up with family as real estate agents. They don't go into real estate immediately. They all run away from it, and then they end up in real estate, ended up phenomenal like yourself. What was that where you?
Well, I spent 29 years of my life saying I was never going into real estate. I wasn't going to work nights, and I wasn't going to work weekends, and I wasn't going to do this. And so the funny piece of that story, you'll appreciate this, is that I was not in real estate yet, and my dad offered to open up a mortgage company.
Okay.
And he told me that, I could go into mortgages and I could help, and I wouldn't have to do the open houses and the Wouldn't have to work nights and weekends,
Yeah.
right? And before he actually made that a reality, he decided that maybe it'd just be better that we went in as a real estate team instead. So that never actually happened, but I was this close to ending on the mortgage side versus the real
You
estate
dodged
side.
a bullet.
I feel like I did.
And Steve, so how did you get into real estate?
Well, I got into real estate basically to drive her around. She was having a surgery, and she needed someone to do the showings and different things. And so I was also looking for the end of my career and something to do that I could leave the fire department for, and that was it. The helping people was a great attraction to me, and that's why I ended up getting my license. And I ended up driving her around for a couple of months, and then got my own clients, and off I went.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now how did the driving around work? Because you said you get lost, and you. No.
I'm not terrible with directions, just every once in a while.
That's good, because we wouldn't want you showing the wrong house, or
That'd be bad.
wouldn't that be embarrassing?
I'm trying to think, has that happened?
I have knocked on the wrong door before.
Yeah.
It happens to us all.
Yeah. That would be really embarrassing. So you're still a fireman.
Yes.
I want to hear more of this. I think, and again, like teaching, it seems like not so many. I haven't talked to that many people who are fire people.
Fighters.
Is it firefighter? There you go, firefighters. You think I'd know that? So, but it's all police officers, firemen, firefighters. A lot of the people who are out there helping people, that they also gravitate towards real estate.
Yeah. Well, real estate's a relationship business where you do help people, and I think that I get a lot of joy and satisfaction out of that process, starting from the beginning, getting all the way to the closing, and helping them through that. That's it's kind of like a very short version of leaving the station on a run and helping someone with their current problem, and then going back and being done with that. So,
yeah. So, and how long have you been a fireman?
35 years.
35 years. So
Yeah.
what's the most exciting fire you've ever been a part of? Is that a legitimate question?
Quite a few. There's some memorable ones. We're out at the Walmart fire.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah, and that was pretty spectacular just to watch. There wasn't anything that could be done. I was at work at a different station when one of our stations caught on fire.
Oh, really?
For Thanksgiving they had a little mishap, but there's we could
That's
spend hours. It was just a mistake. We could spend hours talking about different runs and fires
Yeah.
and why they were.
So the
good.
Walmart fire was too far gone.
Oh yeah, it was too big. It was just that
So it just
building
broke
was
out marshmallows
too
and
big. I couldn't even get close to it. It was.
Oh,
just,
really?
Oh yeah, that was a huge building. It was.
Yeah.
That was
was
and acres of roof. It was.
That's a
were gonna
big
put that
deal.
out. Yeah.
So all that you guys are in real estate, but you've kind of been in real estate your whole life, even
In a way,
for a little
yes.
time you were.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the people who had family in real estate also, they would, when they were kids, they would like act like real estate agents. Did you ever do anything like that? Did you have any of those?
I don't remember acting like a real estate agent, although, there is a component of the lifestyle that I didn't realize was so important. One of the things that, when I was teaching, I felt very claustrophobic because you had to basically clock in and clock out, and you had to be there on so many days. And I didn't realize until I didn't have it, the fluidity of a real estate family lifestyle, and always working and never working. And my parents were always at all of our things and all of our functions and sporting events. And I missed that, and I didn't pinpoint it until I got back into real estate and realized that fluid lifestyle was something I appreciated.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because you said you weren't going to work nights and weekends. But now you have to. But
Yeah,
then
we
you
do.
also notice the time that you actually did have available because of the lifestyle a real estate agent has. So it's not
Yes.
all work,
Correct.
just mostly.
Just a lot, but that's okay.
Yeah, just mostly. And you're at a lot of people think especially new people. You have a team,
Mhm.
so you understand this better than most. What is it? What is the misconceptions that people have about what a real estate agent does?
There's a lot. No, I when I am looking to hire new agents, when they just really like houses, and they just really enjoy looking at houses, and they look forward to the freedom and the flexibility, so they can go to the lake house on the weekends, versus the job that they have right now. I think there is this idea that this is easy, and we have a lot of free time, and we have a lot of time, and a lot of times it's multitasking. But yeah, this is a people business, not a house business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so a people
Yeah.
business. Now, Steve,
Yeah.
you look like you might have
Well,
some more information there.
the business isn't instantaneous. It doesn't happen overnight. It can be 6 months before you get your first transaction. And then as far as the time goes, you are on everyone else's time but your own. You can block time out, but if you have a client and there's a house and they need to see, especially in the market we're
Today's
in,
market.
you better get over there and get it shown. Pretty much no matter what you have going on, you better make arrangements. This isn't that we're going to go see it tomorrow thing. It's 8 o'clock tonight or 7 o'clock tonight. We'll be over there and we'll be looking at it.
Right.
So
yeah, it's a hard thing to do. I had a agent on out of Fort Wayne, and he's figured out how to not do that, but it took him a long time to get there. And he had the biggest thing I learned is he's decided it's okay to say no and pass it to somebody else.
Well,
That's the hard part.
It is, and it is a lesson that I learned pretty early in my career. I was a single mom. I raised my daughter completely on my own. So she was 3 when I got my real estate license. And there was some decisions that had to be made, because I didn't even have every other weekend. I was 24/7. So I decided when she was very little to not work Saturdays, and I lost business because I didn't work Saturdays, but that was my day for her. And I would I'd work on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 9 while she was at gymnastics. Or, there was evenings and weekends where I did work, but I made that decision. And she's 27 years old, and tells me that she felt like she was raised by a single mom, or by a non-working parent, like
That's
a
awesome.
stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Because I was able to organize my schedule in a way that it worked for our lives, and I was there for her. And when you lose that, I know the house, the very house that I lost the listing because I did not go on that Saturday, the first one. I could still tell you exactly where it is. And my biggest competitor listed it. And when I realized that I lived through that transaction, and my business was healthier than ever because of it, it was a huge breakthrough.
Yeah, because your life matters too.
Yes, and your family matters.
Yes, it does. So if anybody has any real estate questions, or maybe they want to, buy or sell a home, or maybe they want to become or thinking about becoming a real estate agent, or looking to change teams, what's the best way to get a hold of you guys?
We can be found, our website has all of our contact information. So it's just steveandjada.com. So you can learn a little bit about us, our phone numbers, emails, all there. And we'd love to talk to you.
Awesome. And what is that website?
steveandjada.com.
Okay.
A-N-D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to do things a couple times because I want to make sure people remember it.
That's great.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And thanks for listening to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. The gurus we interview share valuable insights. They reveal their strengths, personalities, and how they'll work for you. Well, we hardworking mortgage guys secure your best mortgage. Real estate gurus work hard too. They avoid problems the amateurs don't see. They listen. They find unrealized opportunities. If you're buying or selling a home, a real estate guru is a valuable asset. If you're even thinking of buying or selling a home, keep listening and definitely call one of Indy's Real Estate Gurus. And we're going to change a little bit and talk about maybe like, what do you guys do when you're off and no phone, if you're ever off. No phone, no, what would we catch you doing?
We'd be on the lake.
I kind of figured that.
Yeah.
We
We'd be
would.
on the lake. We'd be on the lake with our family, and we'd like to travel a little bit. We try to get out and take some trips and go to Chicago and see Taylor, your daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, we spend a lot of time on the lake.
All right. And you have, I know you have a boat. What kind of boat do you have?
We have a pontoon, and we also have a surfing ski boat.
Yeah.
Okay. What is a surfing ski boat? I've heard of these, but I don't actually know what one is.
So our surf boat is you fill it with water really to make it heavier, to make it have a bigger wake, so that we can actually surf right behind the boat in the wake with no handle, just like you would surf in the ocean.
Okay.
So you get up and then you kind of get in that pocket and you literally surf behind the boat.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you catch that wake?
You start with a handle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You get up
okay,
out
how
of
do
the
you
water.
do that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then once you get into that push of the wave, just like the wave in an ocean has a push, and it will keep you right in that pocket behind the boat, even without a handle.
Okay. And what lake do you do this on mostly?
Geist
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
Okay. So Geist is your lake.
is our lake. It's where we met, and it's where we live, and
Okay.
it's where we play.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you guys are on the water. Is there anything, and you travel, you go to Chicago, is there anything else you do in your fun time?
I train for triathlons at times.
Okay.
I haven't done one for a little bit, but I intend to do some more when I retire. So I've done 7 Ironmans and I don't know, 8 or 10 half Ironmans and a bunch of races around town.
Okay.
So
And I saw you're really good at it too, because you've won awards and all that. I have to say, I don't know how you feel. My son did an Ironman and did a half Ironman. And as impressed as I am with everybody who was out there doing it, I don't know what's wrong in their head.
I agree.
I've heard that.
I agree.
I don't get it.
I think exercise that lasts longer than an hour is crazy talk.
Yeah, and that's just not even one event. I was really impressed. His first one was out in New York in the, what is it called? Lake Placid.
Placid. I've done that. I've done that race.
And there were 80-year-old people.
Yes. Yeah.
Not only that, they beat him, and he was like 28 years old and had spent his entire, 2-3 years, working towards that with professional trainers. It's impressive. How do you get through that? I mean, that must mean your mental capacity, your mental ability is phenomenal.
Yeah, the resilience to get through that is why I enjoy that. It's the process. The race is the race. It always, sometimes you might not feel well. You might have an accident. I've had an accident before, but the process of leading up to the race is what I like. The discovering your limits. Going out and running and swimming and biking and finding out where exactly your weaknesses are and trying to improve them. I like that entire process.
What I enjoyed about it is I got to go, and have lunch and have beer and have dinner.
Got all day.
Read a book. Yeah.
Well, it took him a while.
Yeah.
He was. I did notice though. It seems like once you've done 7 of them. So by the time you get to 7, you just kind of know what's going to happen. So you seem like you're a lot better at it at that point.
Well, you've had probably a lot of things happen and you overcome. You just figure out how to get past it and keep going. Yeah. That's really the lesson there is just the next pedal stroke, the next step, the next swim stroke. Just keep going and solve the problems as they come.
Yeah. I'm impressed with anybody who does it. I think it is unbelievable that people can do that.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they do, but I am very impressed with those who do it. But you said you won't exercise over an hour. So what kind of exercise? I don't even exercise that. So what?
Other than being on the lake, I like to play golf.
Okay.
I enjoy golf. I played the last couple days. It's been fun.
Yeah.
So that's something else that I do.
All right. And who wins?
Well,
Oh, she's a better golfer than
I'm
I
a
am.
better
Okay.
golfer than he is.
Yeah.
I'll be better when I retire.
Yeah, he'll have more
Promise.
time.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
will
let's
have.
saying you work too hard, and she
That
has all
must be
this
it.
play time.
That must
Yeah.
be it.
So, with your team, are you trying to grow that team? I'm guessing you are, since you have a whole office.
Yeah, I mean, a team is an interesting word. So, Steve and I work as a real estate team along with Steve's daughter, Kelsey Weber. She's also licensed with us as kind of a buyer's agent. I don't know that we're looking to grow our individual team, but my office team is really in a growth pattern, and I'm excited about that. We just opened the Geist office 1 year ago. In June of last year was our first official month, and we've gone from just the two of us, or three with Kelsey, to we have 15 agents now.
Wow, awesome! Congratulations.
And we're busting at the seams, so hopefully we'll need a bigger space. And it's a really healthy, fun environment that is in total growth mode.
And do people still come into the office?
My
Yes.
people do.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
We actually do come to the office. I think there's a lot to be learned and a lot to be gained. I don't want them in there all day, every day, but we do learn from each other. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity missed when people do business from their kitchen table.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I think having the camaraderie and getting your mindset on business,
Yes.
and questions that you can ask, or even you hear somebody talking on the phone and you hear something they said and you go, oh,
Well, that's
a
how
good idea.
Steve, talks about just listening to me before he had his real estate license. And then after, obviously, he's full of questions all the time. Why do we do this? And why did this happen? And but he talks about just listening and how much he gained before he even had a license, just from paying attention to one side of a phone call.
Well, there's a lot of women just like to be married to somebody who would listen to them.
Well,
So
is
you got
very
that
true.
going for you right now.
That is very true.
That's awesome, though, because you realize how much you can learn from her, because she's done it.
Yeah.
Not basically her whole life. And there was a time when
Yes.
you didn't, but basically you had to be learning as a kid
Yes,
by what you're, watching your parents.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, Steve, what is your superpower or superpowers?
I think we might have talked about it a little bit earlier, is, resiliency, being able to bounce back, and then adaptability. I am adaptable. Being in the fire service, you never quite know what's going to happen. They tell you what they think's going on, but when you get there, that's not what usually is going on. And being able to adapt on the fly as things are happening is a pretty good strength of mine.
Yeah, I would guess that as a firefighter, you have to learn that, because I'm guessing it's like it has to be very unpredictable.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah.
Not everybody learns that, but it does help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably those who don't learn it get hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's the difference with a house in fire service. That is life or death. You have to be able to make quick decisions and think through the current scenario. Yeah.
Right. It's kind of nice in real estate or mortgages. It's not life and death.
It's not.
We can fix pretty much anything that happens. We can get through it. It may not be the most pleasant thing to get through, but nobody's going to die or any of that.
Exactly.
So what would you say your superpowers are?
I think that one thing that I'm able to do that helps through a real estate transaction is meet people where they are. I have an ability to wherever that is, if it's anxious, if it's scared, if it's excited, if it's hand holding, or if it's taking a step back and just letting things happen. I have ability to meet people, and that makes them comfortable. When they're comfortable, then this whole process ends up better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you both have a very calming demeanor.
Thank you.
Which I think is one of those things that's critical in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you could tell us better than I can. Is there ever any stress when somebody's buying a home? or selling a home?
Well, a little bit.
Every second.
or when they're starting out as a real estate agent?
Yes, all of the above.
Yeah. So, Steve, what have you learned most about real estate from Jada?
You have to communicate with your people. You have to talk to them, and like she said, meeting them where they're at is very important, because you have to find out what their why is. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? And what do they want? At the end of it. So, yeah.
And what would you say the benefits are from somebody buying a home? You have let's say a first-time home buyer. It doesn't even have to be a first-time, but somebody who's buying a home. Not just the financial benefits, but that'd be nice to hear what you think, but also the other benefits that people gain by buying a home.
Well, first of all, I think our home is there to serve our life and our families, and whatever that family looks like for people, which is going to be different. But this isn't, again, it's not about houses, it's about people, and it's about life circumstance. And I think that just home ownership provides the stability and an environment to experience all the other positive things that that we have in life in your own space, and there's great pride in that. It is a wealth generator, but more than anything, I think that our homes serve our families and our lives, and that's a great goal to have.
Yeah, I think where you live. So that decision on where you live changes your entire life. Mm-hmm. I look at my family and my kids, everything they've done is all based on where we lived, what schools they went to, the people they met, the neighbors they had. If you change that, it changes where you live, it changes the outcome of their lives. So it's a huge decision. It's really an important decision that you guys help people with to make sure that they're in the right.
Sometimes they don't even know what they are looking for. And that's part of our job, is to help them decipher through all of these feelings and these thoughts. And, I see people make decisions for a lot of wrong reasons, not buy a house because the dresser doesn't fit in the bedroom, where these are really much bigger life decisions than some of the small details. And then that usually just circles back to something inside of them that isn't about the dresser in the bedroom. It's about something else. But that's one thing we have to do, is help them work through that decision-making process.
Yeah. It's not just the house. Right. It's the neighborhood.
Lifestyle.
Yes.
It's a lifestyle.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the decision.
Yeah. I know when I sold new houses, it was, we sold a lot in the community because that's what separated you pretty much from every other builder. But I think it's still accurate. I know Ian, his agent, when he bought his house, had him go back at different times during the day because you need to see what the neighborhood's like. I don't know what they actually are. They're my sister-in-law's stepson and daughter-in-law. And they bought a house. And when they moved in, they were shocked at what the neighborhood was like at 6:00 at night. All the cars parked on the street, and they didn't really like it so much, but they were first-time homebuyers and never thought to go during a different time of day.
Well, I think right now too, decisions are made really fast.
Yes.
And there's a lot of pressure to get in there, and you literally are in a showing for 3 minutes with 20 other people, at least over the last couple of years. And, that panic, that I've got to make a quick decision. And then that leads to buyer's remorse, which, none of us want to see people make a bad decision, but they're having to make quick decisions, which isn't healthy sometimes.
Yeah, it can be a struggle. So if somebody does want to buy a house or sell a house or wants to get into real estate or maybe switch teams, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Check us out at steveandjada.com, and our phones, emails, all of that easily found there.
All right. And I got to give a pitch because you guys have a phenomenal video and it's on your website, correct?
Yes.
I would recommend everybody go watch it if you're in the market. I think it's important to get to know people. And I think that video really helps them get to know you. I think this is what this is all about. Really, our podcast is we want to get your personality out there and people get to know who you are. The video is definitely worth watching.
Yes, I appreciate that.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I'd highly recommend it. And that's at steveandjada.com.
Yes.
All right. And now we're ready for the question of the week. And the question of the week is brought to you by Ian and I, the hardworking mortgage guys. and Ian has a whole ad, but I don't remember it, so I'm not gonna say it. But the question of the week, and I'll ask each of you, Jada, what was your first car?
Oh, my first car was a 1986 red Berlinetta Camaro with T-tops and a V8 engine.
I can tell you did not like that car.
I wrapped my dad around my little finger, and no 16-year-old needs to be driving that car, but that was my first car, and she was beautiful.
That's awesome. How long did you have it?
About 6 months.
And what happened?
I got speeding tickets. and my dad thought that it might not be a good idea for me to keep that car.
Okay.
So,
but that's better than some of the things we've heard happen to people's first cars. So
yeah, well, when I got the speeding ticket going 60 and a 30, and I had to go, he made me go to court, and I had to clean the city building with the night cleaning crew in order to do community service because of my ticket and my red Berlinetta Camaro. It was good, Dad.
It was at the end. Was that about the time it ended, or did you get more tickets?
No, that was all it took.
So what happened? What kind of car did you get after that?
I think at that point he made me drive a S10 truck. We already had in the family. He wasn't going to make that.
With a 4-cylinder?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was going to make that mistake again.
Yeah, I understand that. But you had a great first car.
I did.
Yeah. And I think that's why we asked the question. It's such a interesting, most people, not everybody fall in love with that first car. It means so much. And some of it doesn't matter. Like you had a really nice one. Sometimes it was like, I hate to admit it, the first car, I didn't own it, but I had a Gremlin.
Oh, yeah.
And, I know they're ugly and everything, and I would never go buy one, but it still has a little softy in my heart, right? Yeah. So, Steve, what about you? What was your first car?
I had a metallic blue 1971 Mustang Mach 1.
Oh, you guys had great cars.
It had rally wheels. It had the black fin in the back. It had the scoop in the front. It had the hood scoops. And a really loud stereo that my mom could hear from way down the road.
Oh, awesome. What kind
love
of
that car. It had a 351 Windsor.
Okay.
This is new. I did not know this.
Yeah.
I learned something new today.
Isn't that awesome?
I'll show you some pictures when you get home. I'll dig those out. But I love that
phenomenal.
car.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you wish you still had it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the same way. There's a few cars I wish I still had.
Yeah. My second car, let's talk about that. I had a 1979 Cutlass Supreme with T-tops.
Another great car.
It was burgundy. It had white pinstripes. It had the kind of rally type wheels. I love that car too.
Yeah.
Had the 3/4 split seat in the front.
What motor?
I don't know.
I'm into motors, so that's why I always ask them.
It was a Cutlass Supreme. It was more of just that Cutlass model, just kind of a cruiser. I love that car.
Yeah, it was a great, but that year was a good year.
Oh yeah, the body was awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. The 80s cars, late into the mid 80s is when I thought, but I think it's your age too. I had kids at that point. And so to me, the cars weren't as cool then as they were in the 70s and in the 60s. Mm-hmm. So but I love those. You guys had probably some of the best cars that we've talked about.
I worked for that. I got a waiver so I could drive to work so I could buy that car when I was,
really?
I don't know, 15.
Wow.
Back in the day, they would give a waiver if you just drove it back and forth to work. So
at 15, you were able to drive?
15 and a quarter, whatever it was. Yeah, you get your learner's permit, but they had some sort of deal going on.
Yeah, my parents never brought that up to me.
I didn't say I didn't get in trouble with it. I didn't have to go clean the community building. So.
We both have that on.
Yeah. So, Rick, what kind of car would you buy if you could get a car, your favorite? Because I was just looking at one last night that I would love to have.
I love cars.
Mhm.
So it would depend on if I went old or new.
Old.
Okay. If I went old, I'd probably I'd either go with a Ferrari or a Corvette.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably go with a Ferrari, but I've owned several Corvettes. I had a 69 427 Corvette convertible, white, red interior, red stripes.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
put a Doug Nash 5-speed nitrous oxide on it, and I could have had to clean the courthouse.
Yes. You do like the motors. Yeah.
And then I had a 77 Corvette. I had a 69 Herschels. I had a
The
70.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 8 shifter.
Yeah, 8 shifter. And I had a 73 Cougar XR7 with the 351 Cleveland.
Yeah.
That was not as good as the others, but
Yeah.
I love cars. I still love cars. I go to the auctions, but I was going to buy a Ferrari Dino. I don't know if you know what a Dino is, but I don't fit. And that's kind of the biggest problem I have with it. Most of the cars like that, I just don't fit in them.
Yeah.
Maybe I do now. I've lost some weight, so maybe I can get in them now. But actually, it's not getting in; it's getting out.
Yes.
That's not easy.
That's
So, what is your most? I'll start with you. What is your most memorable transaction?
Oh, there's been so many. I know I was thinking about this, and there's just so many good ones. I'll just say right now is the middle of a memorable transaction because I'm actually selling a house for my dad. My dad, that's been a realtor for 45 years and
Wow.
now is retired, and just going through this process with him at the moment is one for the record books,
Yeah.
we'll say. But yeah, but there's been so many stories. I could write a coffee table
I
book
bet you could.
for sure.
So I'm curious, how many real estate agents did your dad interview before he chose you?
Right. Well, I don't know. Let's see. We started off as the Sparks team. Sparks is my maiden name in Anderson, and my sister-in-law made it on the team first, but she didn't last in real estate. But
What a great name though for a real estate office.
yeah,
I
so
see that on the sign.
it was Sparks Realtors. Yeah, Sparks Realtors. And then when I got licensed, my first brand, Jada Sparks, watch the sparks fly, the sparks you need for your success.
Yeah.
It ended up being a wonderful kind of play on my name, but really, I think kind of hit the nail on the head when it came to my personality and so forth. So
You want people to remember it.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
those
yeah.
are all memorable names because of the sparks. That's great. How
Yeah.
about you, Steve?
My first transaction is the most memorable. I got my license at the end of 2019, and then at the beginning of 2020, and at the end of January, we met. There was a bit of a language barrier and kind of an understanding of how the house selling and buying process worked. And by the time that we got under contract, COVID had hit, and we ended up closing in the parking lot. We went to look at houses where there were 20 or 30 people in there at the same time. They got an offer accepted finally, and then on a Friday, and then called me on Monday and said they didn't want it, and we had to return, or we didn't get our earnest money back, which, they had their reasons, but we got them into what I thought was a perfect house for them. It was all said and done. It was about a 4-month process, but it was quite challenging
through a
trying to
pandemic.
navigate the pandemic and the language barrier and those sort
They
of
were
things.
from
They're from the Congo.
the Congo.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they've referred some business, and they're great people. So, yeah.
I know that it's a little different, but I know that there's been a lot of times when there's multiple offers, people look at, may make offers on 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 homes, not get them, and get very discouraged. How do you help them get through that? Because ultimately, I know every single one I've ever talked to, when they finally find the house, I don't care how many they went through, they're happy and they're glad that's the house they got. But how do you walk them through that and keep them going down the path to end up
Emotionally stable?
Yes,
The whole
there
thing?
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, emotionally stable.
Yes.
Well, I think it starts with a solid upfront meeting. I mean, you have to lay this out and what to expect
Yes.
before you ever show them a house.
Yes.
Because if they aren't prepared financially, mentally, to understand what is about to happen, then it can go sideways.
Yes.
With the disappointments that tend to happen. But of all of my years and decades and in all of the houses, I can't tell you a single one that it what's meant to be will happen. And all of the bad and all of the disappointments along the way, everybody ends up where they're supposed to be. And I can't tell you a single one where people said, "Oh, nope, it was that third offer we lost. That was really the house for us." Things end up how they're supposed to end up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to set those expectations and then manage emotions, including your own.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I found myself wanting it more than, some clients did, which isn't a good thing. You have to manage yourself as well.
Right.
You have to keep things calm and moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And like she said, good communication is the key. This could happen. Let's not make it a big surprise. Let's hope for the best and expect maybe not.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know. As a younger person, I didn't realize that everything will work out.
Yeah.
Today, I realize that.
Yes.
So it's like, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it go, move on, and it all works out. And it not only does it work out, it 99% of the time works out for the best.
Right.
Yes.
And you realize that, okay, yeah, it was disappointing, but actually without that happening, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be in the house I got. And my youngest son learned that up in Chicago. They were trying to buy a house, and they looked, and he'll still drive me through the neighborhood and go, "Yeah, we made an offer on that one. We made an offer on that one. We made an offer on that one." But he goes, "You know what? We got the right house."
Well, we went through this process ourselves.
Yes.
So we ended up buying a house in 2021. But in 2020, as the market had just started to explode, and we didn't, being in the business, we weren't quite aware of the magnitude that was about ready to change. And we made an offer on a house. We still call it, we're like, "Oh, Jib Court."
Yeah.
We
by the address.
By the address. And we got outbid by $150,000. And we thought we had made a slam dunk. I mean, we do this for a living.
Right.
We had made a slam dunk offer.
Yeah, we were.
And we looked at each other and couldn't believe it. And then, months later, we ended up in the right house at the right time, and we've never looked back. But we were able to share that story with our clients because I know what it feels like.
Yes.
I felt the disappointment.
Sure.
I understand the anxiety, and we understand what it felt like to be waiting for the call from the other agent to know if our offer was one of 9 and did we get the house that we wanted, and what it feels like when you actually got it. And I think being able to, again, relate to the clients on that level was helpful.
Yeah, probably very helpful for you to have gone through that.
Mm-hmm.
$150,000.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, and this was right on the cusp. Houses weren't selling for above asking price. They were still selling. The market had not turned yet, but you could tell we looked and we were like, "What are we in for?"
Yeah. It was crazy. And I think it's going back there myself. I think this is a great time to buy a house because there's a lack of inventory, but rates are up and there's people not wanting to buy because of that. Tell me, this is something I don't understand. Somebody's willing to go and make an offer on a house, $150,000, $200,000 over list price, but they're not willing to take 7% over what used to be 3%.
Which you can refinance later, and you can't you can't renegotiate the price you paid for the house.
Yeah, it just mind boggles me.
It's mental.
Yeah.
It is a mental roadblock for people.
Because this is a great time to buy a house. The houses are starting to get back to where they were, but they aren't there yet, are they?
I have not seen many, if any, houses that have lost value.
Okay.
Right.
They're
Definitely not
continuing
to go up.
To go up. And we don't anticipate there being a cliff of any kind in our foreseeable future. So, if you buy now at today's prices, whatever the interest rate is, as you well know, a refinance down the road is always an opportunity. But if you wait for the rates to come down, but the price went up,
Right.
you've
Yeah.
lost ground.
And you're bidding against 20 people, so you have to pay more money.
Well, I do agree with you. As soon as the rates start to tick back down, there's going to be people that are on the fence now jump into
Right.
the market that's going to change the,
Yes.
the balance again.
Because what's the biggest thing that we're missing right now?
Inventory.
Inventory, right?
Mhm.
Number one thing.
Mhm.
And that's only going to get worse.
Yes.
And
Yes.
as inventory gets lower, it's going to raise the prices. And I know the media goes out there and they want to tell us all that we're going to have a bubble, but there is no similarities between 2009, 2008, and today. None.
Zero.
None.
No.
Zero.
There was an abundance of homes. There's a lack of homes. There was no buyers. There's an abundance of buyers. I mean, it's just totally different. So anybody who listens to the media, they need to stop because they're wrong.
Yes.
Okay.
Agree.
It's just not going to happen that way. In my mind, anyway.
Or mine.
Yeah. So maybe the last question, how would you describe your brand?
Well, our brand, Steve and Jada, is the perfect match. And our brand is really about who we are as people, not about, the service we provide, which we provide great service, but anybody can provide service. Our brand is about us. We found that we're the perfect match for each other. And in that, we're able to then be the perfect match to help you with your real estate goals, whatever they are. So
Yeah.
that's really what we're selling, us as humans, and our relationship with each other and our relationship with our clients is a very family oriented, family feel, very personal type of brand.
Yes. I couldn't have said it better.
And it's a relationship
Yes.
industry anyway. So that's
It-
really what it
it's
is.
all
Yes.
about people meeting people, connecting with people, and then that trust allows us to then do our best job for them.
Awesome. So if somebody wants to talk with you about real estate, buying, selling, or maybe getting into the business or changing teams, what's the best way?
SteveandJada.com. You can watch our video, cell phones, emails are all there, but check us out, SteveandJada.com.
And I definitely recommend you go to their website and watch the video. It's phenomenal. And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com or 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And thank you for joining us. And for more Indy's Real Estate Gurus, please follow us. You'd think I could remember that. I only say it every time. Thank you guys for joining me. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thanks
you
for
guys-
having us.
You guys have fabulous stories. It's really phenomenal.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. And if you need to get a hold of us, hardworkingmortgageguys.com.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Rittman's NMLS number 6645889. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.